I stepped into that room, and immediately the room was full of people. Like, there were people in the room, and at the same time, there wasn't a single person in that room. There were no people in that room except me and something that was in there, and yet at the same time, I saw people in the room. So the first thing that caught my attention before I even became aware of people in the room with me was a massive tank. The tank was so big that it came from the bottom, the very floor. Okay, the tank was positioned on the floor, and it went up to just about maybe this much between it and the ceiling. I guess I would say half a foot at best between the ceiling and the top of this tank. It was a massive tank that at first glance appeared to be filled with water. But the substance in the tank was not water, and I was able to tell because of the condition of the man that was floating in the tank. If that had been water that the man was floating in, his limbs would have been a lot more limber. He would have been able to move a lot more freely, because even though water offers resistance, water is still water. You can move in it, things can float in it. You can, if you see how fast the fish move about in the tank. So water is not something that's difficult. What was in this tank it reminded me of the viscosity of toothpaste, but that is too stiff. Toothpaste is too stiff. You need to water it down a little bit more. There's some toys that you can squish when you have tension. And there's also some things, they have, some silly putty or something like that. When you squish it, it's very easy. It comes out between your fingers. Water that down a little bit more while still keeping the viscosity, and then make it look like water. That was what was in that tank. And Charlie Kirk was in that tank. The tank was about, I would say, maybe 5 to 6 times bigger than a man's body. So basically, the way you have a very big pet fish in a tank, Charlie Kirk was in that tank. And when I saw him, that was my first scream, right? Because I saw him and I screamed with the recognition of, I know this guy. I know this guy. Who doesn't know this guy? Who doesn't know this man? This has been one of the loudest deaths that have ever happened in America. And you should bear in mind that I told you that you're going to see loud deaths.